It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 549. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
That's so many.
Grace.
Hello.
Kodra.
Hi.
And Tam.
Hello.
Number does, in fact, continue to go up. But since we're going to be changing our season numbers to based on the year, like other products, like it's even could be even more insane.
Ready for iOS 26?
Yeah, basically.
I just love how it just completely obliterates your ability to like understand the history of things easily. But like, to be fair to them, it's not like Windows wasn't already much worse offender of this.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, yes.
We started with numbers, then we switched to names, and now we're back to numbers, but then we skipped a number for some reason.
For a very important reason.
The dumbest reason.
No, it's bad programming reason.
Well, it's what if you needed to make sure that this worked on Windows 95 or 98? You might say, is the operating system's name Windows 9 star?
Yep. There's lots of code that was that way.
Naming things real hard.
Anyway, what is this topic when less choice is a good thing?
Oh yeah, that one is mine. That one is because I've been playing the new season of Dwarven Realms, and I'm not sure if this is a change that went in with the current season or may have been in for a little bit, but it's the first time that I've experienced it. And you know, here this thing about ARPGs, which this is sort of if you squinted it, is you want to run around and murder all the things and pick up all the loot. And then you have to figure out what to do with it. And that's sort of ingrained in your head. And then you play games that have loot filters, and maybe now you're only picking up the good things. But mostly you're not seeing the things you don't want, and that's okay. But for a while in Dwarven Realms, you know, you kill monsters and they drop chests or containers of various kinds that can have various things in them. And the strategy, because it costs energy to open them, so you have a finite currency to open these chests, is that you only open the very specific ones that have just the items that you actually need, the highest priority, and you leave all the rest on the ground. And then when you get to the end and you kill the boss, you use the leftover currency to try to target the things you really want. And that was like a tried and true method of leveling up, powering up. But as someone who loves this genre of game, for the buzz my brain gets from picking up loot, I really hate having to make that choice of leaving something behind so that I can maybe try to target something else I want a little bit more. Because there could still be plenty of good stuff in those other containers, or things that would help advance my character incrementally, but maybe not quite as much as targeting something. And so, again, I don't know if it's this season or just relatively recently, but now it no longer costs currency to open all the containers. And so all of a sudden, I don't have to make that bad choice. I can open everything, and then I can decide if I want it, if I want to vendor it, if I want to disenchant things. Then the choice is more meaningful because I have all of the options in front of me. I don't have to make the bad choice of leaving potentially useful things behind. And I don't know, like, I'm sure it's the same urge that makes me, immediately um, immediately alter my play experience in Fallout games so that I can carry everything. um,
Yup.
but like like my brain wants to be able to open all of those containers and enjoy and sort through the spoils and then figure out what to do. And so I've really been having a blast this season. I haven't been playing as much as I would like, but I really deeply love this change to the game because I still have options. I'm still obviously not keeping and using every item that I'm getting in every rift, but I'm no longer having to selectively choose which things to leave behind without even looking at them. I can sweep up everything, and then I still get to spend the currency at the end to target the things that I want. So it's sort of the best of both worlds. Um, and it just like such a subtle change, but for the way that my brain loves these games, it has made just a world of difference.
Is this kind of like the difference between dropping identified versus unidentified loot?
Yeah, I think it is. Very, very much so. Like you've got a limited resource, and you're only going to be able to use so much of it, and then it just feels bad, even if you probably weren't going to use whatever that weapon is. That's a type that you don't like. Yeah, it is. I think very similar.
Yeah, because like that's a big thing for me. Is like I hate like playing Path of Exile. I hate loot because it's like, well, that could be really good, but I don't want to pick up and like try and sift through everything that could be really good. And why I like Last Epoch, which is I can have it only show me things I'm actually going to care about.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like unidentified loot is a system that probably just needs to go away in general, because like the games that don't have it seem better.
Yeah, and it's slightly different because the items, once you have them, are all identified. It's just you have to open the container to see what's in it. And some of it is exactly what's going to be in there. It's some amount of a specific currency, but it's just the most efficient way to move through the game is to skip that one and target this other one, and just doesn't feel as fun.
You like looting all the things.
My brain really enjoys that.
Yeah, there's a part of me that I do like I think I'm probably the most vocal proponent of like party management potentially being interesting, but also like part of that is that it's actually really important to know what it is you're looking at. And like that's part of why I like it is I can be like I can make a judgment call when I see it like, oh, I don't need that. But not knowing makes me nuts.
Yeah, there definitely feels like there's a moment in like especially Path of Exile where it's like, this screen is entirely full of loot. Is any of it worth picking up? And it's like
The answer is no.
The whole thing is like, oh yeah, you're supposed to get really excited about a loot explosion, and like that's a big part of these games. And then the loot explosion happens, and I don't care about any of it, and like it just it devalues the victory you get.
The dopamine hit. Yeah, like basically if currency didn't drop, then it didn't matter.
Which is like the opposite of what I want in a game, actually. Like this is a challenge I kind of have been having, and I realize I'm going to be on the minority here, but like I miss when a cool item dropped and I got excited about it. Like I liked having to try and get a specific item from a specific place.
Yeah, I don't know that I've had that real feeling since like the early days of WoW or any other game like that where it had targeted loot.
Like truly one of the better examples of it is getting legendaries in Guild Wars 2. because you are at least working, like, even if everything's deterministic, you are working very hard to get the thing you need to get.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the same level of dopamine.
You're right.
As-
There is no randomization to almost anything happening there unless you decide to roll for clovers.
which is miserable. Don't do that. Buy your deterministic clovers over a long period of time.
Do your wizard chores.
Yeah, like roll it, quote unquote, crafting clovers is miserable.
But like, I don't know, it's an interesting thing that we've definitely moved away from. But like, I kind of miss when an item dropped and you would get excited about it. Like in ARPGs, at least, the only thing you really get excited about is currency dropping
or super rare unique items.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's true in Last Epoch.
Last Epoch, I get excited about.
Yes.
I get excited.
That-
Same.
That's fair. Last Epoch, I do get excited about loot that drops.
And it doesn't even have to be that good if it has an affix I want.
Right, like what I get more excited about more than anything in Last Epoch is, oh look, it's a good purple base item that I can now turn into a legendary by feeding it one of my LP items.
Oh yeah, I see what you're going for there. Yes, that is exciting.
Because honestly, those purples are harder to get than LP items after a while, it feels.
I don't know. If you're farming for a specific unique with legendary potential, like getting that is pretty rare and feels pretty great.
Depends on the unique, but yeah.
And even then, like some of the chase uniques in that game are boss drops. Like, kill this thing, you might get this sword. You're never gonna get Glugon sword. It's never gonna happen. But it's possible.
I do really.
Yeah, I love the loot in Last Epoch. I think it's
Path of
very
Exile does
interesting.
have this too, like with boss drops, but because Path of Exile also lives by its trade system, and also the you might not be able to kill the boss that drops.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah,
it's a little different.
The effort to fighting to get a Nebulok versus just buying a Nebulok off of the trade site is pretty stark.
Yeah, because I think they made it so Nebulok only drops off of Uber now.
Oh, did they? Oh, that makes it
That's gross.
so
I think
much
so.
worse.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Like,
not like that
I'm not
build was
100%
popular.
sure, but like there were a bunch of uniques off of bosses that got shifted to, oh, this only comes from the Uber variant.
Wait, what do you mean by Uber? Do you mean like
The level 83 put the point in the tree and...
Well, not pointing to the tree now. You collect like tokens
sure.
from T17 maps.
but not the Uber, which is Shaper plus
No, not that one.
Yeah, no. That being called Uber is like not correctly labeled.
It's older terminology.
It is the name of the fight inside of the game.
Yes. Uber Elder is Elder
Just
and
normal
Shaper's world or whatever. Yeah. But there is a Uber version of Elder that's just a normal Elder fight.
But will one-shot you if you don't dodge at literally everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly. Like the answer to those fights is people one-shot them before they can do a single mechanic, usually. That's how people farm Ubers in that game. I don't farm Ubers in that game.
I remember when I finally had a character that just truly felt entirely cracked, and I tried to do an Uber fight and got, like, it wasn't even close.
I mean, I will say probably the closest that I've had to that experience is during one of the D4 seasons when we were like chain running bosses to try and farm the mythic whatever thing that we needed, and it finally dropped. Like, that was cool, but that was also like a crapshoot.
Yeah, but it was a quasi-targeted thing.
Yeah, like if you run enough things, eventually one of them will drop.
It was super fun. Of course, now it's gone.
Yeah, they changed it.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so Star Citizen keeps its promises in 2025.
Amazingly.
What is this topic?
So, Star Citizen. It's the classic overpromise, undelivered game from 2012. And like has consistently missed there's an ongoing joke that you see that's a Pyro 2018, Pyro 2019, Pyro 2020. Like, it's the same GIF, just with a new text overlay when they blew past when they said, oh, hey, we're going to have this. And last year, I don't even think I talked about it on the show because it felt like such a hilariously, why would I bother mentioning it note. But last year, during their like annual convention, they were like, these are all of the things that we're going to have ready for this year. And like, there's one item that they haven't delivered on, and they have 17 or 18 days to do it. But that item is on the current public test universe. So it's the next patch. It's just, do they hit their patch by the end of the year? Which classically, they love to release a patch on December 23rd and then go on vacation for 2 weeks. But it means that this year they stopped doing concept ships. They had a promise that they weren't going to sell any ships that weren't released, and they have completely stopped selling. They've sold 0 ships this year that weren't live. They've added 4 new types of content, most notably group PvE, or at least what they structure as a group PvE, and completely revamped all of the equipment in the game, all of the flight profiles and everything in the game, and all of their missions, which is all stuff that like I saw on the list. I was like, never, it's not gonna happen. And to my great surprise, not announced was their second new system, which is also released. So there's now 3 star systems in the game, all very different with a bunch of different quests. And this one brought with it their first campaign story quest. So there's like a chain of missions that are all telling a story. And, you know, is there necessarily so much in the game that I'm like, now is the time when you should give it a shot and jump into it? Like, I don't think it's quite there yet. But it sure is a lot that they've released this year compared to any other year.
It at least runs on my new machine.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, is they dropped a bunch of optimization.
I should see if elevators work for me yet.
Elevator, I mean, like, I haven't heard people complaining about elevators not working in months in like game chat. Like, it's still possible, but like granted, I just upgraded my computer, but I have a computer, like, I have comparable performance in Star Citizen as I do in regular games now, for the most part. I've been really impressed at what they've accomplished in a year, and it makes me think about just the arc of game development. Because my theory on Star Citizen has been much like, it's not a thing that you normally see behind, like, you normally see in game dev, because you don't normally get the kind of behind the scenes look. But for like most of the game's life cycle, like the development life cycle, it's just crappy. Like, it's like, oh, nothing new is changing, nothing new is changing, nothing new is changing, nothing new is changing. And then like a bunch of teams all finish what they're working on and put it into the build, and you like patch it up for that week's internal playtest or whatever, and you're like, whoa, what is this game? This feels like a video game all of a sudden. And it almost doesn't matter what kind of game it is. It's just like that's such a common experience in dev. But I've been kind of watching, Star Citizen is probably the closest thing that you can actually see to a game that is legitimately in development, that's actually developing. Because there's some stuff that falls under that category in like Steam Early Access, but a lot of those are not really progressing all that well. And even something like Hades 2, like when Hades 2 Hades 2 was in at least an alpha state, if not a beta state, by the time it hit early. Like, you were definitely not seeing pre-alpha Hades. Baldur's Gate 3 is the same thing. Like, that, there was nothing there that was pre-alpha. Games love to say that they're pre-alpha, but like the closest thing I can think of that's another game that you could play that really feels like it is like this is a solidly in development game is Soulframe. And even Soulframe is wildly ahead of anything you would expect art-wise. And so it's just interesting to see, like, I've been expecting that if Star Citizen is actually going to be a functional release at any point, it's gonna hit the point where it suddenly accelerates at just a bonkers speed. I think this year we might be hitting it. Like, we'll see if they continue the momentum into next year, but like their plan for next year also feels very similar, like similarly ambitious. And I don't know, it's a good thing. Like, that is a game that is going to fill up with content and stuff to do at very, very high speeds once they lock it in.
The world feels way more fleshed out than the last time I tried to play in it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And it's just, I mean, it's also just, they've made a lot of spaces that are just like kind of fun to wander around in just because they're so visually interesting. The new system has it brings back a city that used to be in the game, but they took it out because it was like a test bed city and not meant for the system that they were using. But now that the system that it's supposed to be in is back, I can go back to what I used to have as my hometown, and it's great. I love it. Like, the vibe is impeccable, and it feels different from every major city you can go to feels different.
Yes, I chose to have the Shantytown mining colony as my home city, and I forget the name of it.
Hurston, the most depressing place in.
Yeah, it feels like home.
Oof.
Oof.
You would like Levski. Levski is we are independent from the Empire. Like, started as a mining colony. Now we're basically the Belters.
I mean, there's always Grim Hex. You could hang out at Grim Hex.
Yeah, Levski feels a lot like, what if Grim Hex, but like socialists and not criminals? And it's really cool in that regard. I do have to relearn all of the equipment in the game, just like mildly annoying, because I knew exactly what I liked before. And now everything has, stats and variants. I have to like.
Is inventory management better tutorialized now?
Inventory management has been completely revamped.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of like quality of life stuff that has gotten a bunch better. I think as more people play it and they realize that like some of their grand ideas are not actually going to fly with real players.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, they're to their credit, they're learning a bunch of things at speed. We'll see where they land with some of them. But it might ultimately be really cool. They might also totally screw it up still. Still up in the air. But if they screw it up at this point, it's not going to be because they didn't try. Like, Star Citizen is a lot of things, but a scam it isn't. And I think that that's sort of like it is amusing to me that they have gone from one of the most widely reviled real money transaction systems in the gaming sphere to objectively one of the friendliest ever made, mostly because the industry is. But also, they offer you a no questions asked store refund for anything you buy. Like, you can trade in anything you buy for store credit at any time. No questions asked. It's an automated system. And like, there are a lot of games that would never dream of letting you do that. That's interesting.
I mean, this does cause some people to try to figure out how they can spend more money in the system in the most economical ways.
It's true.
How to win the discount war by paying more money.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of weird offshoots. There's also the person who's like, I only ever have one ship at a time. I just move it around all the time. I just have rolling store credit, and like every 3 weeks I decide which ship I'm going to be flying for the next few months and swap it around with store credit. I've flown I've flown almost every ship in the game, or I've flown every ship in the game under X dollar value. In a world of, what was it, $20,000 Darth Vader? For a sense of accomplishment.
Yes, well.
So because of our 2-week break, there's a bunch of things that have happened that we've not talked about. One of which is the release of Guild Wars Reforged, which is mostly just a cosmetic upgrade and some performance upgrades.
Cosmetic upgrade, performance upgrade, and controller support.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Like, I have been enjoying myself. I'm playing Prophecies, and I think, each of us is playing something slightly different at this point.
I've been playing Nightfall because I hear
You made an
Nightfall.
objectively correct choice.
Because I've made the correct choice. Yes, I wanted to make a correct choice to give me a good chance of succeeding. Also, I'm playing a Paragon, which is really fun. I think.
I don't like Paragon, but that's a personal thing. It's definitely good.
I like Ranger. Ranger is
That's
a lot of
actually
fun.
why I don't like Paragon. I'd rather be a Ranger. It is not like Paragon is a supporty class, and Ranger is just I want to shoot things with a bow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I am stabbing things with a spear. I am chucking spears at things.
And sometimes setting them on fire.
I'm shouting for all of my friends to set them on fire.
That's the other thing. Paragons are much better later when you have larger party sizes.
Ooh.
The default party size in this game in most places is 8, but they start you with a party size of 2 in the starter prophecies and 4 everywhere else.
Ah, interesting. So eventually I'll have more party members to go around.
Yes. Paragon is really good. I just don't enjoy playing it.
Yeah, like I've got my party, I'm shouting, I am also, my secondary thing is warrior, which does seem to be
More
what
shouts.
everyone agrees is what you should do as a Paragon.
More shouts.
Yeah, more shouts.
I remember when this game first came out, I bounced kind of hard off of it because it was directly trying to market itself against World of Warcraft, and it is a wildly different experience. And I think I had a lot of mental hangups of the comparison of World of Warcraft, which I had just been playing prior to this.
Like the marketing team did any better at the launch of Guild Wars 2.
Yeah. But like really, if I think of this in terms of a game more akin to EverQuest, it feels like a better experience.
Well, see, I guess the thing that I'm really enjoying about it is even when I am playing solo, I'm still playing like I can play
Party
a support
tactics.
class and it makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, I started a new character in Prophecies, a monk of all things, the most supporty of support classes, and I'm having a great time.
You heal people.
Except even then, like, the healing people is not even the fun bit. The fun bit is pressing buttons that cause them to take 0 damage all the time. I understand how this whole barrier healer thing feels now. It's good.
I think the other problem that I had when I first tried to play this is I kept trying to play a warrior and make it a tank, and it just didn't work, really. Not really.
This game has the most opaque aggro system of any game I have ever seen.
It is far better to let your bot tank for you and just be a ranged, or just be a healer, or...
What is the aggro system, if we do know what it is?
It has a component based on damage and a larger component based on proximity.
Okay.
And those combine in some weird ways. And some component based on if you cast Healing Breeze on somebody, enemies are really going to hate you, so maybe don't do that.
Ah. I was about to say, cost keeps aggro pretty well, I'll say.
It's also just been wild.
Aggro much better if you send him in first.
Right, yeah. It's been wild to see how many people this has brought back into the fold.
This is a good game. And it doesn't look like it's 20 years old right now.
Right, yeah, now, like, I mean, it's amazing how much this did for searing Ascalon in appearance, because it used to be this just muddy red mess, and now it actually looks kind of cool.
There was a Shadows update, like, I want to say, like, 8 or 9 years back that significantly improved matters as far as that went.
But also, like, I can see the icons at a reasonable size on my screen.
The texture update, the HUD updates, those were real big. Like, the player texture updates were extreme.
Yeah. Like, everything kind of just used to be muddy textures, and now it looks real sharp and pretty. I have a friend who's dedicated himself to doing the 20 in pre-searing thing.
Legendary Defender of Ascalon.
But now that I know that it's a real track and not just death leveling, I might do that too at some point.
All right, this
What
needs
do you
an
mean?
explanation.
Yeah.
When you die in Guild Wars, other things can gain experience from you. So, but let me back up. You don't get experience for killing things a certain amount below your level, like many other games.
Okay.
Pre-searing is the introduction to Prophecies. It's the tutorial zone mostly, although it is very big for tutorial zone. And Also doesn't do a lot of tutorializing. Anyway, it's the starter zone. Once you go past a certain point, you can't come back. And enemies only exist here up to like level 5 regularly, and there are some level 7 bosses.
Okay.
So in order to level beyond like level 12 or something, you had to go and get killed by these bosses repeatedly for them to level up so you could kill them for experience again.
Oh.
Yeah, it was nonsense.
I did not realize that enemies had XP that they could use to level up.
This is usually not a relevant factor, but it is how this game works.
So is there a way other than doing that to get this thing then?
So
There
yes,
is now.
in, I want to say, maybe 2015, sometime around then, maybe 2012, they added what they call Vanguard quests. So if you hit level 10 in pre-searing, a thing that already takes some effort, but doesn't require death leveling, a new NPC shows up and starts offering what are basically daily quests that spawn new enemies based on your level.
So you can get like a small amount of XP each day?
Yes. It takes a while, but it takes less of a while than the old way would have.
Sure.
But you can kind of basically just treat it as dailies and do your dailies on that character, and eventually, given enough time, you will hit 20. I don't know. It's been fun going back and re-exploring this game. I would love to do some of the stuff that crosses over into Guild Wars 2 eventually.
Yeah, I've been having fun. I would love to. So, at what point in the various starters, like after I hit level 10, do we all go to the Eye of North? Is that what I understand? How do you meet up with other people?
At a certain point in each campaign, I want to say it is the Consulate Docks mission, which is level 12-ish in mission that starts in Cavadan. Characters from other campaigns can join into the Nightfall campaign.
Okay.
Separately, Eye of the North is its own thing. It's the part that ties most closely to Guild Wars 2, and you can start doing that at level 10, regardless of where you start. Although some asterisks for prophecies, since you have to get to Lion's Arch first, which might take you until longer than level 10.
You'll get to see old Lion's Arch.
Yes.
What's the island thing you can go to?
Like Embark Beach or whatever it is.
Yeah, what is that even?
PvP lobby.
Okay. That's
There's
not a
also
way to
where a
get
lot
between the areas, though.
Well, I call it the PvP lobby because that's mostly what it is, but it connects to all the PvP outposts. It also connects to the menagerie where you can store all of your trained pets if you want to play Pokemon.
Is that a ranger specific thing?
It is.
But if you secondary class into ranger, can you still get access to that?
Absolutely.
Nice.
And that is what I'm currently doing on my Monk. I went Monk Ranger specifically for Beast Mastery stuff. I don't intend to use a bow long term, but I'm using one for now because it's better than the Monk damage abilities. The thing I want to get is there were a variety of weapons added in the 2015 update. Yeah, they added 10th anniversary weapons, which have a variety of interesting effects. Things like a hammer based on the Monk's Divine Favor attribute rather than Hammer Mastery, or a scythe based on Soul Reaping and not Scythe Mastery for Necromancer.
Ooh.
And these are somewhat build-enabling items.
Yeah, having your weapon scale off your primary stat is good.
The thing, it's less that than you might expect, because if you're using a scythe, you probably still have points in Scythe Mastery. Probably a lot of them, so that scythe abilities are actually good. The Monk one, however, yeah, like, you probably weren't using any points in Hammer Mastery anyway. It is weird to be a monk swinging around a hammer. Monk's a quote-unquote support class. The game has had a funny opinion about monks doing damage for apparently forever, and I don't know the full details of all of that nonsense.
Does this game have like instance dungeon content?
Everything is instanced. What are you talking about?
Okay, I feel like this may be true. I don't know. I've only been on the plains of Janthier, or
Plains of Jaren.
the plains of Jaren. Yes, it's like Janthier. No, that's Guild Wars 2.
I mean, also it's this game.
Oh,
Just
it's
not where you've been yet.
Got it.
Yeah, like in Prophecies, you're introduced to a typical style dungeon almost immediately in the Catacombs. I don't remember how long it takes you to get to anything like that in Nightfall.
Catacombs is so weird.
It's so huge.
Big.
It's so huge. I never realized it was that big.
Yeah, I also did not know it was that big, as I found out this time playing this game. But there are, like, later in the game, there are a lot of what they call hard mode missions, which send you to places that have no resurrection shrines. And if you die too many times, you get kicked out. So you and your party have to make it through this dungeon, kill probably a lot of bosses, complete a variety of objectives on your one build, and without dying too many times. Or at least dying too many times in a row is really the thing.
Oh, because of the penalty?
Yeah. So yes, there are like significant dungeon content. But the other thing is what I would call the main content of these storylines is what is missions. Nightfall has you do one immediately in the what is it called? Not called Consulate Docks, that's the later one. Shavik Village with the chips.
Oh yeah. Oh,
A lot of the game is completing instance missions like that.
I will say, because it was, I am playing on controller. Is anyone else playing on controller?
I initially thought I might, and then found out they didn't have invert camera, or they do, but it's weird. Allegedly, that's being worked on.
The one thing I will note is that the mechanism for guiding your troops around is extremely goofy with a controller.
Yeah. That one feels like it might not have been thought all the way through.
Yeah, like you have to go into cursor mode to guide people around. And you have to click on the UI elements with your cursor mode. Is the only way that I've gotten it to work. Fortunately, I feel like there are better and worse choices here. Paragon mostly seems like a good one. I don't think I would want to try and heal on a controller.
Yeah, I do not know how you target your party on a controller.
It's not that bad. It's the up and down on the D-pad.
It's not actually that bad.
Yeah, but it definitely works really well on, like, Paragon has been great so far. It is funny being back in a game where things I want to drop have a percentage chance to drop.
I feel like they do Nightfall a disservice by giving you that juvenile blade termite mission immediately.
It's definitely hard to get those termite legs. And then it turns out to be a repeatable quest.
Yeah, that's how, what do you call it? Collectors work.
Well, yeah, and then that's the other one is there's the collector quest for like all of the different types of soups. And I have been killing lots of those things and have not been getting any of those items.
Yeah, there's a lot of rare things like that. Prophecy's got that thing going on too. I think it's like char idols or something like that is like pretty freaking rare to get to drop off of a char.
I do at least believe that not all char are carrying idols.
Well, not everyone's carrying a soup.
No, it's not the soup. It's the component of the scale. Like
it's termite legs.
All scales should have at least one fin.
Look.
And all termites should have 6 legs.
Look, you try and kill a termite and not squish the legs and make them completely inoperable in the process. Just say it.
Listen, have you seen the size of these termites?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but like having killed real termites, they squish real easily, so I assume the giant versions squish really easily too.
I don't make that same assumption. I imagine that their chitin is like proportionally thicker. I think that might be a bit of a wild assumption you're making there, Bell.
I don't know. They died pretty fast.
Yes, because you're using weapons of war on them.
And again, try and kill them gently.
I feel like if I used a weapon of war against a giant termite, it would be more effective than if I tried to use a weapon of war against a regular-sized termite.
I mean, that last one sounds like a good way to destroy your house.
Right, exactly. I mean, even like a sword, though. Like, I'm not... Like, it's not like a termite is a major challenge, but I don't think that I would do very well trying to, like, sword a termite.
Monsters are coming. Rock and Road.
This one is me. I picked up this game because it looked intriguing and the art style reminded me of Don't Starve, and I enjoyed that. It describes itself as a tower survivor roguelite. And that's kind of a lot of things. So they actually it's like multiple great tastes that taste great together. It's like a, Vampire Survivors style game. You have a little dude and you get various power-ups and weapons, and they spin around you or auto fire, and swarms of monsters are coming at you. And great. Okay, so that's great. But also you have to gather resources. So in between killing the monsters, you also have to try to mine rocks or chop down trees. Like, okay, so another element. Um, but also, you are defending a town from these monsters. So you have a town that uh, has its own defenses, and as you get those resources, you can then add bits and pieces, tack them onto the town so that there's more people to support the industry, or there's more towers to attack the enemies. So like that's cool. And then but then also the whole thing is moving. So you're sort of taking these last survivors, trying to get them through the monsters to a place of safety. And so now you've got the vampire survivors thing, and you're trying to gather stuff, but you've also got tower defense, and everything is moving. And of course it's, roguelite, so you're gonna die a lot, but then you get various things that will help you keep upgrading either your equipment or your town. It's just there's so much going on, and initially I thought, like, is this gonna be too much? No, it's perfect. It's great. it's it's really fun because you have like the simplicity of the survivor style gameplay, but while you are playing, not in between rounds, you are building up the town. And so it's giving you the interesting choices about leveling up your character and building it, and interesting choices about building up your town, and interesting choices about, am I going to try to fight these monsters? Am I going to try to go get some resources? And yeah, it's kind of a blast. I need to spend more time with it because I'm really just like having a lot of fun every time I play it. And it's just sort of joyful, and the art style is cute, and I love all the little monsters. It's just a good time.
This sounds very fun, and maybe a game that will finally get me to try a Vampire Survivor.
Yeah,
Because I do like the city management ideas.
yeah, it's got enough other things going on that if you think that, the Vampire Survivors style game is kind of boring or not quite your jam, there's enough other stuff happening that this may still be fun for you. I mean, in its heart, you've still got the Survivor style gameplay, but yes, there's so much going on with the constant motion and the building up of a town, and yeah, so if you reach sort of places, intermediate places of safety, and then you can kind of choose to, go through a little gauntlet to try to get yourself some more supplies or power ups. And it's been really fun. The art style is charming. I constantly want more of it, and want to keep building up the pieces of my town that will let me keep summoning swarms of minions, because that's also my jam. But it goes in my pile of games this year that have just been like relatively inexpensive, but extremely fun little bite-sized bits of gaming for when I need that.
So, Tam, it sounds like you are further into where winds meet at this point.
I am, and I was not expecting to be this into this game because it had some neat stuff. I was like, this is cool, kind of like what it's doing, it's not like, the story matters a lot to me, and as I think I mentioned the last time, like the translation is not very good, and the voice acting is pretty stilted.
Yeah, I was gonna say the translation is. I haven't noticed it being terrible. The voice acting is really hard for me to not get exhausted of very fast.
Yeah. I have heard a lot of people say the correct way to play is to have the localized Chinese voice actors with English subtitles.
I could believe this.
Yeah, which I totally believe. But I haven't done that. I've gotten further in. Particularly I've gotten out of what I'm going to call the tutorial area. Like, stop me if you've heard this one. You're a swords person who grew up in a small town that's idyllic and peaceful, and oh no, something goes wrong and you are thrust into adventure because your town got destroyed. It's like 50% of the games I played between 1990 and 2005. And like this is no different, but it's a new fresh take on it, and I feel like when it decides that it's going to start making commentary, it is a lot better at it in certain ways. When you get to to like the main city and it is talking about the dangers of capitalism, they're very serious about it, and they take it very seriously in a way that isn't theater, which I think is interesting. Like, it's just presented differently. And even though the voice acting isn't always great, it's almost like they knew that. Some of the later areas just aren't. They are telling stories with other tools than dialogue. And part of what's gotten me more into it is that they are actually pretty good at telling or getting. They're surprisingly good at telling stories with non-dialogue tools, but also it means that the impact of the voice acting is a lot less. And also, like, your character's painful naivete is less present. And then I've gotten more of the systems available to me. They have a system where you know a couple of weapons right off the bat, but if you want to learn a new weapon, you either have to join an organization where that's their like signature weapon and they'll teach it to you as long as you're a member of the organization, or you need to spy on that organization and steal it from them. And both of these are interesting. It was like, oh, this is why I would join these groups. These groups are actually kind of neat, and you can get a bunch of stuff more efficiently by joining the one that's like matches the weapon that you like. But also I've gotten a variety of new weapons and they're pretty neat. It's just a few buttons, but like between having two different weapons and having the skills that they work with, I feel like combat's really opened up for me. There's a pretty stark difference between me using a spear and me using the like rope dagger. And one of the things that I was missing was, like, especially in early on combat, is the sword that I started with is a very single target dueling weapon. And so combat with multiple enemies felt like bad. But then I got other weapons that are actually good at that. As well as, there's weapons that are like tank weapons that I haven't even tried. But it's like, oh, this is the rope dagger, which I guess is not a huge surprise, is really good at fighting like 3 or 4 guys at a time. And as a result, I'm getting more different types of fights, and the types of enemies I fight are more varied. And as that happens, it's like, oh, okay, this is actually these encounters are really interesting. Like, bosses are interesting. The boss design is honestly very cool. Even out of the tutorial, you get to some bosses that I would put up against like Final Fantasy XIV bosses in terms of presentation. I really, really, really like I've been wondering what energy is for. I actually really like it. It's not for regular play. It's for basically going back and running encounters to get drops. And when you run boss encounters again, the like more advanced versions are asking you to do them under specific circumstances or to accomplish specific things. It's very much it's like the achievement style, like boss achievement style, but they're more interesting and they feel more achievable. And so it's like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff happening here that's all interconnected, and it's a great game for feeling like you're inhabiting a world and going around doing the things that interest you. Because there's a lot of them. Like I recently stopped moving forward on the story to go back to the starter zone and just do a bunch of stuff and unlock a bunch of stuff that I was still curious about. You know, becoming a better debater on my way to becoming the best lawyer in the land, non-ironically. There's a ton of little mini games, and I actually feel like they're largely well executed. And it's like, would I want to play an entire game that was just that mini game? No, but it's a really good break in the pacing. I also think they do a really good job. I mean, the spaces are gorgeous. It might be the big city is probably the best big MMO city I've ever seen. Because it feels like an actual city. Like it's a zone unto itself, complete with all kinds of adventuring, and it feels like it. It feels like a place people live, and that's just not a thing I see in video games. They have just a bonkers amount of random little things that you can do. There's a disguise system. NPCs can like you or dislike you, and you can just ask for things in their inventory, but you can also just pickpocket them. It's like different skill sets for different different tools. There's spaces that are just like, oh, how do you want to approach? Do you want to run in guns blazing? Like that's a totally legitimate approach. Do you want to sneak around and take out all of these guys one by one? Like you can do that too. To the point where it feels like a Ghost game. Like Ghost of Tsushima did a lot of these same things with encounter spaces, and this feels like it's doing equally similar things. And that's, I mean, just not something I see in an online game. And like, is it an MMO in the traditional sense? Like, I don't know. Is Destiny? Do I care? But it is a giant world that I can walk around in. I also unlocked, when you explore a space, like a particular zone enough, you get the ability to use what they call lightness skills, like leaning in on the wushu thing. It's that crouching tiger, hidden dragon, people like just flying around kind of deal. And that's like wall running or just like jumping straight up into the sky and like flying around on your sword. It feels really cool. And it's just very like, it is the weirdest fast travel I've ever experienced, but it's really fun. And it's really fun in like my favorite kind of interesting fast travel way, in that it's incredibly useful, but it doesn't just trivialize getting around.
Sounds like fast travel in a superhero game.
It does. It with way more fancy posing effects. but yeah, like there's a whole wild series of animations as you launch into the sky, and there's like stages of it, so you can keep it going if you want to get even higher. But also there's like, you can run on water, you can wall run, I think it's possible to get a horse, but I don't think I actually have done this, nor do I know how. It hasn't really come up. There are bounties you can hunt, where you like investigate and find a criminal of some kind that's like procedurally generated in the world, and when you catch them, you go and turn them in for bounty credit. Like it's an unbelievably huge game. They just launched on mobile this week, and I am stunned at how well it runs on mobile somehow. I haven't felt the need to give them any more money. Like maybe when I get to the end of the story, I'll like, oh man, this energy system is really a real drag, but like I could spend all an entire play session just doing energy costing things and would not run out of energy. But yeah, I was not expecting this game to, because the first several hours of just hanging out in the starter zone and going through the intro quests, and basically up until the point where I finished the arc in which you properly start your adventure. I was like, I don't know, this game's fine. It's interesting. It's doing some neat things. It has a story, but as I've played more of it, it's just gotten more and more interesting. I'm only not right now. I'm only back in the starter area to work on getting better healing skills, because there's somebody I ran into in the city that I legitimately just want to heal because I feel bad for them. It's just I want to know where this goes because hey, that person's story is sad. I did have to check with there's a coworker of mine is also playing, and I did have to check with them if they had the same feelings about certain parts of the game as I did, or if it was just my latent dad vibes coming through and making me just absolutely enraged at certain parts. But no, apparently no, that's just everybody. It's really good. It's given me a bunch of characters that I actually at least find interesting. I love the, part of it is I really love the, wandering swordsman kind of vibe. That's just a thing that I really like in games and like to play. And so actually getting to play that in a big open world where I kind of get to decide how I approach that is really cool. The animations are really satisfying because I feel awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I would need to play more of it because right now it's kind of not hooked me. I'm also kind of curious, the challenge is so what makes this, because I haven't played either, but I want to play Ghosts of Yotai, and what makes this stand out from that, where they're both kind of big open worlds.
There is much more variety and texture in the world of Where Winds Meet, both visually and narratively, than there is in Ghost games. Because Ghost games and Tsushima more than Yotai. Yotai varied it up a little bit, but Tsushima is, this place sucks. Everything sucks. It used to be beautiful, but it's been invaded and it's miserable. Everyone you meet is miserable. It's a sad place, and you're doing your best to make it better. And you're not running into people having there's no world, there's no part of Ghost of Tsushima where you're navigating political intrigue among corrupt nobles in a city, because that's just not what that game is doing. And so that part of what I really like about Where Winds Meet is that you've got the variety of, here's some clandestine spiritual mages. Here's the Thieves Guild. Here's a cult of assassins. Here's nobles who are genuinely trying to help people and dealing with corruption. Here's the downtrodden. It's these are the downtrodden poor, and what are their lives like, and how can you help them? And that's just in the first two zones of the game.
Yeah, I will say one of the things that is definitely making me realize some of the things I approach a game calling itself an MMO is the multiplayer aspect is important to me and how the multiplayer is happening. And this game does not feel very multiplayer, at least at the part that I'm at.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah, I can see that. I've been playing in solo mode, so I haven't actually intersected all that much with anything that might be multiplayer.
Yeah.
And to some extent, that's my favorite approach in MMOs as well. Is I want to get my feet under me and understand what I'm doing and understand the game systems before I expose myself to other players who are going to call me an idiot for not knowing everything about the game from the jump. So I actively dislike when games shove me in with other players before I have had a chance to understand what I'm doing. And so I actually really like the solo mode.
Yeah, and my favorite aspect in any game is like the fate and or rifts and or public events from, Guild Wars 2 and all those type of games where it's like a casual public open world drop in drop out no risk grouping system.
Yeah, and there does seem to be that kind of content in here. Like, it hasn't popped up today as I've been playing while we've been podcasting, but like I hit a certain level, and I don't remember which level because the levels go by really fast. But I hit a certain level, and it's just sort of constantly been telling me, hey, you should try multiplayer. You should do this multiplayer thing. Do a multiplayer thing. Try multiplayer. And I'm like, I haven't done it yet, but there is a like challenge mode and casual I don't know what casual co-op is. They're like, they look really cool. So, one of them is do some try doing healers. Do a multi-person healing event. The host tests guest based on classic literature. Those who prevail win an award. I don't know what that means. Visit the Blessed Land for solo or group cultivation. Couldn't tell you. Prison break. Rescue your comrade and escape prison together. Sneak into the dungeon, evade the guards with cunning, cut the chain, smash the door, and carry your friend to safety. Oh, the descriptions don't actually give me any idea what I'm getting into, which is part of why I haven't done it, but they all sound at least somewhat interesting. And that's separate from, like, here's a bunch of do various challenge, like actual PvE challenges in a group. There's like group bounties, maybe? I don't know. There's a lot of menus in this game. Their update notes were like, okay, we put out a survey. All of you hate our menu system. We will look into it. We're so sorry. Here's some compensation for you being mad about our menus.
You know what other game put out a survey recently?
Uh-oh.
Arc Raiders, which I filled out.
Oh, yeah, same.
What was on said survey?
Notably an opportunity to say that I thought their game would be really fun if I didn't have to get ganked all the time.
Apparently, this is wild to me, and I wish that I had more information on it, but they're apparently either have rolled out or are rolling out what they're calling aggression-based matchmaking.
What?
Where the idea is that if you instigate fights, you will be matched. It will start heavily weighting you to be matched with other people who instigate fights.
My goodness, I hope they succeed because it will be so funny to read the forum posts of how angry everyone will be at that.
That is not the way I would solve that problem.
But it might solve that problem.
It might solve that problem. It's a very funny way to solve it.
Yeah,
there will be maps where things happen and maps where nothing is happening because everyone is bunkered up.
Yeah. And if they can get it to work, I actually kind of like that.
But that's not what people who gank want.
I know.
I don't care what they want.
I don't care either. I just think it's really funny. It's like the prisoner servers.
Yeah. But
you commit a crime, you go to the crime server.
Well, and so the thing that I find really interesting is that there's other versions of this that are people who get reported frequently for bad behavior get weighted to match with other people who are reported frequently for bad behavior. And
it does this.
That actually seems to work in some games. I don't know if it works in Dota, but I've heard anecdotally that it seems to work. And so I don't know, I would be really interested to see if that does work, because it could solve a bunch of problems. And you don't technically have to create another rule set about it.
I would still like them to create another rule set.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the problem, though, is until they create that other rule set, there's an entire group of players that just won't give their game the time of day.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, totally true. Absolutely. And the question that I don't know the answer to is, if you did create that rule set, would those players give your game the time of day?
I bet they would.
I don't know. Like,
Some of them would.
I mean,
Yeah.
as an N of 1, I probably would. Right? Like, not everybody would.
Like, I'm going to be totally honest with myself. I haven't been back to play Sea of Thieves. I kind of want to, but it's just...
Sea of Thieves did not understand what they were doing.
But Sea of Thieves has a PvE only mode now, I thought.
That they heavily restricted you for using, if I remember correctly.
no, the only thing it got a lot of bad press for restricting what you could do in the PvE, but the only thing that it actually restricts in PvE are like the most top end stuff, and that's largely only relevant for PvP anyway. It's like you can't get PvP. It was like you can't get PvP specialized gear, and you can't get the like PvP unique cosmetics. Like those are the only things that you get at this point, from what I remember. And like I know it got a lot of flack because it was like your level cap is lower if you only do PvE, but like that's not like the levels don't work the way that like they do in WoW. And those last like
Then
5 or 10
why fucking do it?
I don't know. The last 5 or 10 levels are just all PvP upgrades. So it's like, okay, so you don't actually care about the PvP upgrades. So they just don't include them.
Yeah, it is a quote bad look, I'd say.
It's a super bad look. No, it's an appallingly terrible look. Like maybe don't shoehorn a level system in all for everything, because you're gonna misrepresent some stuff.
But also, like, that game had its chance. It blew it. So, like, you're right. I'm not going back to that game. I'm interested in potentially trying Arc Raiders if they decide that it's okay if people don't shoot me in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah. Until then, no, I'm not interested in coming anywhere near that game.
Yeah, and they may get there eventually. I feel like it's one of those places where I'm really glad that Helldivers is as successful as it was.
Yeah, huh?
Because it sends a really clear message.
I really enjoy Helldivers a whole lot. I wish it was at some point. Like, it turns out I don't like constantly being the baddie.
Yes. Yeah, like if you simply reskinned Helldivers, I would play so much of it. It wouldn't like you could change basically nothing else. But like as funny as it's like over the top Starships Troopers satire is, it does get a little old.
It's very effective. It definitely is working as a satire. It's just like it turns out satire is not a world I want to live in, like for a long amount of time, which is what a game like that is asking me to do.
Yeah, it's hard to feel motivated.
Oh no, we have a mission, and if we don't do it, Super Earth will suffer. Well, I think they probably could use some suffering.
Oh no, anyway.
I don't know how much I have to actually say about this, but in the avenue of like lots of stuff happened while we were out for 2 weeks, I've gotten super into 3D printing, and I freaking love it, and I kind of wish I had one of these years ago. Specifically,
no, you don't.
Okay. I like the version that just works now.
Yes.
To be fair, like that was kind of why I didn't buy one before. Is like I was waiting for the technology to reach a point where it mostly just works and I don't have to spend all of my time fiddling with it. However, I have learned a lot of things. Thing one, yes, you can save $3 a roll by buying refills that don't have a spool attached, but I've created more than $3 worth of frustration because they tend to snag more than just buying it with a wrapped spool. So
there is a related concept that is you can save some money by buying the really, really cheap versions of filament.
Yeah, no, I love Sunlu PLA. I had heard it was good stuff, but compared to the Bamboo Lab stuff, it's so much nicer.
Bamboo Lab stuff is good. The Polymaker stuff is good. The what you call it? What's the company that actually makes the Ender 3?
Creality.
Creality's filament is decent.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of them that are all about the same, and then there's like no name filament that you don't want to do. I've also learned that PLA is not terribly thermal stable.
No, it is infamously not that.
Yeah.
If you put something, say, in a car.
No. Did you not hear
Or
the story of my wreath?
Oh, no.
So, for about 30 minutes during the golden hour in the evenings, the sunlight shines through the glass storm door in front of my house and heats things up real well. And now I have a melted wreath.
Oh.
So I'm having a post-apocalyptic Christmas. Like, the super glue held. That was nice, but everything else just kind of warped beyond reason. So next year, I'll print one out of ABS.
Use ASA.
My most recent lesson was just because you find a pattern online that says it worked doesn't mean it's not going to be a giant pain in the neck.
Like, there's so many cool things. Like, one of the things that I found that I will be printing multiple of is a print-in-place miniature painting chuck, aka like the $20 thing that you can buy from Games Workshop. You just print it in place and you wiggle the little jaws to break them free, and you turn the screw drive thing, and it basically, like, you've got a worm gear 3 contact chuck, and the entire thing prints all by itself.
I do already have several of these from Games Workshop, so I don't need to print another one, but I understand.
Being able to knock one out in like an hour and a half, because it is handy to have more than one, especially if you're printing like an entire unit or painting an entire unit. I don't know. I've been working on basically paint storage systems that I've been printing over the course of, I don't know, however long I've been printing them. I'm just about done with that mission. So it's just wild how nice it is to have. I like the concept of resin printing, but having experienced it with a friend's unit, it just seems like a lot of hassle right now.
I do like resin printing, and I have probably done more stuff this year with resin printing than FDM printing. Almost all minis related.
Yeah, it's just a lot.
Yes.
And it's all toxic.
Use gloves. You said yada yada. Yes.
Yep. All those things.
Ventilation, etc.
Yeah,
they make less toxic resins. Like, that is a thing you can get.
I've heard that's not as good. I don't know. At some point, I will probably dive into that world, but there's not really the equivalent of the Bamboo Labs printer experience for resin, from what I can tell.
There's not.
None of them are quite to that turnkey level.
But none of them are as, like, the state of resin printers is interesting because they all basically work the same.
Yeah. I was looking at the Elegoo Saturn something or other.
I do not have one that big. I have the Mars 5.
Okay.
Has the technology that Hero Forge uses to make color minis become more reasonable?
Absolutely not.
No.
Okay,
no.
That is not a consumer grade technology.
That's
at
still
all.
dark magic.
Not even.
Although, like, we're getting to the cusp of it maybe being. So there's so you've got that technology, you've got traditional resin printing, you've got traditional FDM, and now there's another thing that the Eufy maker is doing, which is multicolor resin printing, like UV resin printing. And it makes
That's
me
like a flat thing, though.
Well, it's flat, but you can raise textures off of it.
Like,
however,
you can do reliefs, but it can't do like minis.
Right, but I do wonder if we're at some point going to end up with a scenario where you put a three-dimensional object in a thing like that and it can texture it.
Also, I thought this thing was still like. Does anybody actually have one of these yet?
Yeah, they're out. They've shipped now. Yeah. Like, I mean, Adam Savage did a demo of it, I don't know, a couple weeks back.
Got it.
So it is officially a thing now, but that's like a whole different kind of technology that I do wonder if we'll use that for coloring other models.
I mean, the technology that goes into that thing is very similar to the technology that Hero Forge uses, but that's still like there's still a large gap between those.
We have, in theory, run a full show's length. Do we have any short topics?
Probably not.
A couple things. The druid or bear form combat in Path of Exile 2 is really freaking good. It's very fun. I'm technically playing on a druid, but you can play it on other things because primal is a weapon type that can be used by anybody that wants to use one. Also, they shadow dropped the Paladin class in Diablo 4, and it's also pretty good.
That one actually surprised me.
But is anyone sticking around to play it?
I don't know. Like, I've alternated back and forth between it and PoE2, and I'm doing that while we podcast because it's less stress than PoE2. And every event that I have gone to is just a bunch of paladins.
Well, yeah.
Although, like, it was kind of sad that I farmed up the PoE2 drops on Twitch, and I went to farm up the Diablo 4 drops, and there was not a single streamer that I recognized other than Riker that was streaming Diablo 4. Everyone was streaming PoE2 instead.
There is a lot of overlap between the personnel there, and maybe now was a bad time to shadow drop it, actually.
Yeah. Like, this was maybe a bad call. There's a lot more interesting stuff going on in the PoE2 season than Diablo 4's season, even though they gave a new class. So, but it's good. Like, it is named a paladin, but it seems to take more thematic roots from the Crusader from D3. Anyway, that is probably a show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.